Have you ever had homemade bread? If you have, I'll bet you agree it's awesome. After the dough is readied, it's eventually placed into the oven, and boy, is there a smell. And I just love that smell. So imagine that you're visiting someone, maybe, for example, grandma's house, and there's a loaf of bread baking in the oven. And then grandma finally gets to that moment where she takes it out, and your anticipation grows. Then grandma sets it down and says, now, no one's going to eat this. This is just for us to look at. I've got a few slices of kind of stale bread back in the cabinet. We'll eat that, but I'm so proud of this. I just want us to look at it and see how cool it is. And you would think, no, that is, of course, not the purpose of bread, right? The purpose of bread is to be eaten that we might live. The purpose of bread, the whole purpose of bread is to be not admired, but broken and shared so that we could live. So how appropriate then that Jesus would say, I am bread. I am the bread of life. And on this night that he would say, this bread is my body. Jesus did not walk on earth so that we might admire him. Man, that Jesus, he sure is something, and that we'd all be impressed by him. No, Jesus saw his life, the purpose of his life, as the purpose of bread. He understood that the purpose of his life also was to be given away, even to be pulled apart and shared so that others might live. And in case we didn't get it, on this very night when he gave us this gift of himself as food, he said, let me show you what that looks like. One example, and he takes off his cloak, and he goes to take the role of the servant, and he begins to wash the feet of his disciples and dry them. The job of the servant. Nope. Jesus never thought of himself as someone just to be, look how cool I am. My friends, we are the body of Christ, which means that therefore, that is our job as well. Our job is not to practice our virtues in such a way that people will go, gosh, isn't she great? Look at him, isn't he awesome? No, our purpose is like the purpose of Jesus, which is the purpose of bread. Our purpose also is to be given, to be willing to be broken out of love, to be shared for the good of all. It's been said, you are what you eat. We who are blessed to come to this table, to take Jesus, real and simple bread, may we remember that the purpose of bread was the purpose of Jesus. It's now our purpose. We too are to be willing to be given for the life of the world. In just a moment tonight, we will wash feet. What we will do is call forward just the few members of our community. Part of the gift for us tonight is to see each other. The people whose feet we wash, they are us. And remember, behind every face is a story. We often don't see it. But behind every face is a story. The first person I call forward, Abby Drennan. I'll tell you about Abby. She's brave. Abby and her family moved here from New York less than a year ago. And when you are trying to figure out who you are, it's a tough thing. And I think Abby's had a few other tough things in life. In less than 48 hours on Holy Saturday night, Abby will become Catholic. She's found here a church community that has been of support to her. So Abby, we wash your feet now, that you might know that you have a family here that will always love you. You will always be a part of us, Ab. Abby, you will always have a home here. Michael Wingbermule. This year, Michael received the sacrament of confirmation. Michael wrote me a note not long ago asking me to pray that he could get his driver's license. There might be family members praying the opposite. I told Michael, and I meant it, I pray that whatever would be the best for the world is what happens about your driver's license. So Michael, we wash your feet, that you could know that, driver's license or not, you truly matter to us, because you do. Michael, driver's license or not, you are really important to us. And I'll call forward two people, Stacy Stokel and Amanda Young. They are siblings. For some people, life is much harder than it should be when you are young. And life was not easy for these two. They do not mind that I tell you that one of the ways they chose to cope, alcohol, drugs, led to chemical dependency. In the end, God brought them to sobriety and to people to take care of them. Tonight, Stacy celebrates 5 years of being clean and sober. Amanda, almost 9. They do the hard, yeah. They do the hard work that it is to be alive and here, to find what they need that does not depend on that. We're so proud of them. And they have said that they are in it together, that they're not alone. Well, we wash your feet this night that you might know that you have a bigger community, that you are never alone here. One of the things that Amanda missed in life was that piece about how you put on a sock. So she's learning now. You guys have a community here that believes in you, loves you, and is pulling for you. Jude DeGuire. Every year, we like to wash the feet of one of the boys and girls preparing for First Communion. Jude is preparing for First Communion. And when I asked Jude if he was willing to have his feet washed, he said, yes. And I said, Jude, I would try not to call you a silly goose, but I couldn't promise that I wouldn't do that. And maybe after Mass, you can decide who's the bigger silly goose, Jude or me. So as we wash one of Jude's feet, we wash the feet of all of our boys and girls who prepare for First Communion. And boys and girls, if you ever get to take communion, when you get to take communion, you will remember that it is your job to be a washer of feet. This is what we do when we follow Jesus. And now I'll call forward Jim Murphy. I knew Jim and Lisa and their kids when I was in House Springs. One of Jim's kids has now buried one of her kids. Less than a year ago, Jim's grandson, he drowned in the big river. Jim, we wash your feet aware that there's a loneliness as the rest of the world seems to go on as if nothing happened. And with your feet, we wash the feet of all who grieve. There's an empty place that is in no way ever filled. And Jim, we believe with you that there is a life beyond what we can see. And we believe that love is forever. And here you be real. You cry when you want to cry and you laugh when you want to laugh. And let no one give you shame for either. Behind every face is a story. We'll leave this chair here empty tonight as a reminder that as followers of Christ, we who receive the love that he is are like him to be washers of feet.